Hello there, this is Carrie Rhoades. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is part of a blog hop that Justine Hovey started, and it is the Paper Crafters Unite Against Racism. I definitely have been wanting to say something during this time and wasn't sure what to say, like many of you, but I knew that being quiet and not saying anything was not okay either. And you know, as a white woman and living in Idaho, I don't come in contact with a lot of the issues that our planet is facing right now in regards to racism, but I knew that I just needed to say, like, this is not okay. What's going on and the way that people are treated differently because of the color of their skin is not okay. And I think that things need to change. I don't know exactly what I can do. I don't know exactly what to say, but I know that I wanted to say something, and I just don't feel like this is right. And maybe just saying that right now is the start of something. And so I just wanted to use my gifts and my talents to say something, and I'm using today's blog hop as that opportunity, and I hope that you too may find a way that you can stand up for the things that you believe in, and maybe have a voice for those who don't, for those who have a hard time expressing themselves, being heard. And so that's what my hope is today, that through this hop we can kind of just start that conversation that things are not okay that the way that they are, and that we want to see change. I fully support this and know that change needs to be made, and also I would love it if our world could start embracing the differences. And so I've made this card as that expression. So this is a background that I watercolored to look somewhat like the earth, and then I wanted to just put a whole bunch of different animals on there. They're all different colors, they're all different shapes, and yet they're all animals. And so I feel like that's kind of like people. Like, we're all different colors, but we're all people and all deserve to be treated equally and with love. So I am using a whole bunch of different Peekaboo Pal stamp sets. I have them pictured here. I've put the names on the screen, and I will have them linked for you below so you can check them out. Peekaboo Pals is one of my favorite lines by Avery Elle. I've used it quite a bit. You can check out my Avery Elle playlist on my YouTube channel and see all the different things that I've made with them, because I do have quite a few videos. I used my Arteza watercolors for my background, and so I thought I would use, I believe it's Arteza actually, Arteza real brush pens to watercolor these animals. I stamped so many. It was really hard choosing which ones to stamp, and so I wanted to color them quickly. I didn't want to take a ton of time, so that's why I'm using these markers to watercolor, because I felt like I could do them quickly with this method. And I do have a blender pen that I'm using for some of the blending, and then for other parts of the blending I'm going to be blending out with a lighter marker. So you'll see me do both, and I do have the names of the markers up on the screen so you can check those out as I color and be familiar with those. If this is a product that you have and like to use, you can easily replicate the colors that I've used. So I have my sloth and a monkey, the hippo here. I think the hippo is adorable. It's probably one of my favorites. But I also love the dinosaur there, the little T-Rex. He's from the Peekaboo Scary Pals, and I think that he's super fun to just throw in the mix there and add him for a nice splash of color, right? So you'll see lots of different colors in my critters today, from grays and blacks and browns and tans. I have a unicorn in here also, so lots of fun diversity in this card, which is what I was going for. So you can see with the T-Rex in particular that I will use a lighter green marker to blend out this parakeet green. In fact, that color is called light green that I'm blending it out with. So that's a really fun thing you can do with these markers. Also, it's really important that you use good paper when you're using these Real Brush pens. So I am using the Bristol Smooth paper, and that is the best paper to be able to get the blending and the smooth look that you want with these markers. Also, I have the new Peekaboo Jungle stamp set. These are so cute. My favorite animal is the giraffe. So I definitely had to have this Peekaboo Jungle stamp set because I love giraffes. So I feel like when I'm coloring these that a lot of these remind me of different people. Like I love the giraffe. My best friend has chickens, and so the chicken kind of reminds me of her. My daughter loves pigs, so the pig reminds me of her. It's just really fun to think about the different people in your life and who these animals might represent as you're coloring them. And they're pretty easy to color. There are some smaller areas that you need to color in, and so using a watercolor medium can be tricky, but if you have a blending pen like I have, and then you have a little bit more control than if you were using like a water brush or a regular paintbrush to watercolor with. So that made it a little bit easier, and these went really fast to color. So I am using the same colors for that cheetah and my giraffe, and then also the same colors for the zebra and the unicorn, just some dolphin gray around the edge, and blending that out for a little bit of shading on an area that I wanted to appear white. And then I will add a little splash of purple, wisteria purple, for my unicorn, for the horn, the little mane of hair that's across the top of his head, and then also his little hooves I thought would be cute with some purple. And then we have a few more critters to color. This cat, I had yet to color this cat, so I thought it would be fun to make it look like an orange tabby cat. I used to have an orange tabby cat, and it was giant. It was like 20 pounds, but it wasn't like the fat kind. It was just huge, like a tomcat, I guess, and his name was Simba. So I thought it would be fun to color this like that cat. I had that cat probably I was 20 years old. Right when I was first married, we got this cat. So, oh, Simba, so sweet. And then a little pink for his nose. And then I have the orange rust for my fox. It is like the perfect fox color. And then I just used that blending pen to blend that out. Also, you'll see me rub the marker on my glass mat and use that to pick up color. I find that helps me blend out the color much more easily than I have trouble with words. Yeah, sometimes I do. So that makes it a little bit easier to blend out that color than if I had just gone in straight with the blending pen. Also, it's a good idea to wipe off your glass mat in between colors. Otherwise, your hand picks up that color, and then you could maybe transfer it to your paper. So learn from me, because I did it. Luckily, I didn't mess anything up, so just make sure to do that. But I will say, coloring on the glass mat is super fun. I often put way too much ink down on the glass mat just because I really enjoyed putting my marker on there and coloring with it. Yeah. So here's my little pig. I got a little bit off screen when I was coloring that. So sorry about that, but the pig is so cute. I love the pig. Maybe it's because my daughter loves pigs, and we have, I don't even know how many stuffed pigs she has. She really would like to have her own pet pig, but you know, maybe when she doesn't live here. That's what we've suggested. Yeah, so here's the little chicken, just doing a like shadow of white. And then while I was doing that, I thought, oh, well, I need to put a little shadow on the white part of my penguin. And here's a story about a penguin. My sister, my littlest sister, she used to call penguins pigwigs. So penguins are kind of special in our family too. So a lot of these animals have a little story behind them. And this chicken reminds me of, my best friend has a hat that's a chicken. It looks just like that. Don't you think, Patty? Are you watching? That looks like your chicken hat. Okay, so I have die cut a frame using a rectangle die that all my little Peekaboo pals are going to go on. For my sentiment, I wanted to have it say better together. So I pulled out this water brush pen that I had ink in and decided I would brush letter my own sentiment. And I actually wrote it several times before I had one that I wanted to use on my card, but I somehow had it off screen. So I just redid the recording of this one. But the one that I cut out and used for my card was one that, like I said, I probably made 7 of them before I had one that I really loved, because it's something I like doing, but it's not something I'm like super proficient at. So I arranged those little pals how I wanted them to go on my frame, and then I just proceeded to glue them on by putting a line of glue across the bottom and sticking them to the back of the frame. And I did make one change, which was I pulled out the zebra and put in the cow, because I didn't want the zebra and the unicorn to be right by each other. I wanted this to be very diverse. And so I thought they were too similar. So I've added my T-Rex and then the giraffe. I like how they face each other. They're one of the few critters that aren't straight on. So I thought that looked really cute. I'm adding on their feet either with foam squares or with glue. If they're too small for foam squares, then I just glued them straight down to that frame, and that just brings them to life. Adding their little feet is my favorite thing about the Avery Elle Peekaboo line. So adorable. All right, now when I add this to my background, it kind of covers up a lot of it, and that made me a little bit sad because I loved that background. But I just added that on with some foam squares, and it gave it that nice little lift. Now, since my sentiment that I hand wrote was a little bit too big for the front of my card, I pulled out this Text Happy stamp set, and I am stamping a sentiment that says, "Big things often have small beginnings." And I feel like that's exactly how I feel about what's going on right now, and I can make a little bit of a difference just with a small change. And so I'm just talking about how I feel about things, and I feel like just talking about it and having conversations is what is going to start people thinking differently. And I have to say, I give all the credit to that, for that feeling, to my friend Lynn, who I often talk about these Black Lives Matter topics with, and she comes from a different background than I do, and she has so many insights that I don't have, and I just appreciate that. And she's opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't know about because I'm not surrounded with those things. So I think this card is going to be for her. She makes a difference in my life and a difference in this world just by talking openly about things that are hard to talk about. So I've added my extra little critters to the inside. So super cute. Now I'm going to add the cover of this card to the card base, gluing that in place. And once that is all lined up, I thought I might add another sentiment to the inside of this card from that same Text Happy stamp set. I stamped, "No dreamer is ever too small, no dream is ever too big." And I thought that was just fun to layer up those two sentiments together. And that finishes up today's card. I hope that you are inspired to create, and I hope that you maybe will find some small way to stand up for the things that matter to you, and that you will just enjoy this blog hop. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will be back again very soon with more crafty fun for you. Happy stamping! Bye!